Okay, so up to this point, we have talked about the digestive system to obtain materials to make them usable for energy and building blocks. We've talked about the circulatory system, which moves materials to, from, and within the cells for transport. We've talked about the immune system, which is made up of primarily white blood cells that fight pathogens, diseases. And we've talked about the respiratory system, which brings in oxygen needed for respiration and gets rid of carbon dioxide that is made by respiration. In that role, it's called gas exchange. Today, we're going to turn our attention to excretion. Excretion is removal of wastes. Now, wastes are damaging. Your cells are busy making stuff all the time. And those wastes can build up in your cells and become toxic. Even things that aren't harmful at all normally, like carbon dioxide. You're exhaling carbon dioxide, you're around everybody else's exhaled carbon dioxide. Normally that has no damage to you. But when you get very high levels of that in your cells, it will kill you because it's an acid and it'll change the pH of your cells and then affect the way enzymes act, and boom, there you go. So carbon dioxide can be poisonous in large quantities. Heat can be poisonous in large quantities. Remember that cell respiration isn't just making carbon dioxide and water in your cells, it's also generating heat. Well, heat can kill you. Why? Because just like changing the pH can affect enzymes, so can temperature. So if your temperature comes up too high, your enzymes won't be the right shape and you won't be able to do reactions anymore. So we have both carbon dioxide and heat made by respiration, which are wastes we produce, that if we have too much of it, keep our enzymes from working because temperature and pH affect enzyme action. And then our reactions stop and we die. So we have to have a way to get rid of wastes. And that was what excretion is about. There's also another group of wastes that we get rid of quite regularly. And those are made by breaking down proteins. Remember, proteins are long chains of amino acids. That's an amino acid. And we could identify it by the fact that it has nitrogen in it, CHON. It has nitrogen. Nitrogen, when you break down amino acids, when you break down proteins, and you break down the amino acids that make them up, you make these nitrogen-containing compounds that are very damaging. In fact, in your cells right now, you are making ammonia. You guys have heard of ammonia. Ammonia is the stuff you use to disinfect your bathrooms sometimes. It's in Windex, right? It is used to disinfect because it kills cells. And you're making it in your cells right now. You have to get rid of that. You take this ammonia that you produce and make a less poisonous form called urea, and you get rid of that. Excretion is about getting rid of all these wastes so that you can keep the right pH, you can keep the right temperature, you don't have these toxins that are destroying your cells. Now, there's a lot of different systems involved. It's not just like the digestive system is the digestive system for nutrition and that's it. There's actually quite a few different systems that remove wastes. You've already learned about one, which is the system that removes carbon dioxide. The respiratory system, right? And heat is brought from the center of your body where it builds up to the surface through the circulatory system. So you've actually already learned about a couple of them, but we're going to add one this chapter. So we have the respiratory system that gets rid of carbon dioxide, and we have the circulatory system that takes heat from the center of the body and brings it to the surface where it then can radiate out. But we also have the urinary system, and the urinary system makes pee, urine. And what it does is it filters the blood. It takes things out like extra water, salts, and it takes out this urea that is made from ammonia that's made from breaking down proteins that's so toxic. Okay, so the urinary system, along with the respiratory system and the circulatory system, are heavily involved in excretion. The urinary system is really pretty simple and straightforward. Your blood is flowing all through here and is carrying the urea and is carrying the salts and carrying the water and going all over. And one of the places it goes is to the kidneys. And the kidneys are about the size of your fist and they're at the back of your body. So they're not in the front, they're laying on the back, just below your lungs. just below the bottom of the rib cage. And the blood flows in there and drops off the wastes, and then the blood leaves all cleaned. So the kidneys are really, really important. When you hear about people who are very seriously ill, a lot of times the thing that is most damaging for them is kidney failure. Kidney failure means you can't filter the blood, and those poisons just build and build and build, and they will kill you. So kidneys are really, really important. Probably, if you had to rank the organs of greatest importance, it'd be your brain, your heart, and your kidneys. They're the things that are going to immediately result in problems if they have problems. So the blood comes into the kidneys, drops off the waste. The blood goes off and to the rest of the body, all cleaned up. The wastes come down these ureters, and that includes water and salt and urea. Water, salt, and urea is called urine. That's the stuff you pee out, and that pee comes out the urethra. And that is excretion.